All right, so HTML, as we all know, is just a language that helps us to render our applications in a browser. So that is what we are going to look at. Today, we want to look at the overview of HTML5, and we'll look at the HTML document structure and page layouts. We'll look at forms and tables. If we have the time, we'll look at links and lists and adding multimedia to HTML. And then we'll look at local storage and geolocations in HTML. And then we'll have a little practicum. Then we'll move on to the second part. So the idea is that we are supposed to end 11 o'clock. By 9:30, we should be having our practical by ourselves. So we move quickly to move straight away to that. Ferdinand is trying to join, so let's wait for a while for him. Okay, I think we are set now. Everybody have joined. We are 13. We are all here now. All right, so you can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir. Hello. Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, please.
Please, I want to find out, is it going to be the time throughout the session?
Yes.
Or the other days will vary?
We want to maintain this time throughout the session because there are some people who are workers, and that is why we want to maintain the time. Do you have any objection to that? Or
all right, it's okay, we'll manage it.
Okay. Actually, when you look at the poster that we made, it was 5 days, but we decided to now make it to be 9 days. But however, we can do it up to a point and decide to have a break, maybe 2 or 3 days, and then later continue. So that is over to you guys. Is that okay? If we start and you want us that, okay, we've done 3 days, let's have a break for a day, and then we continue, or let's have a break of 2 days, then thereafter we continue. We will do that. We want it to be more of a flexible to everybody. We want it to be flexible and we'll be in our homes while we try to learn. We try to learn. That is all that we want to do. Right. So when we talk about HTML, as I just said, what you are seeing on the screen, that is the document structure of HTML. So HTML is just a markup language that helps us, whatever we have, to be rendered in a browser. So we have 2 sections of every HTML that we make. The header section, and then we have the body section. We have tags that goes into the head section, and we also have tags that goes into the body section. Now, one thing with the HTML is that most of the items that you see, which we call tags, are in between less than and then a greater than symbol. So we have what we call the closing tag and then the opening tag. So when you look at the head section, we have something like this. What we have now, this is the opening tag, where my cursor is the opening tag, and then this is the closing tag. Most of the closing tags comes with the less than and then the /. That is how most of the closing tags works. And the opening tags only have the greater than and then the less than. The less than and then the greater than encompasses the tag. Now, when you look at it, HTML is case insensitive. But the standard is that if you want to use capital letters, then use capital letters throughout. If you want to use capital casing, it will also be good to use it throughout. But if you cannot withstand any of this, you can use any of the casing and it will work. It is not case sensitive. Even currently, most browsers render, if you don't even close the tag, they look at it and render it for you within the browser to close it. So that is it. So we have two sessions, the head session, and then we have the body session. So when we talk about HTML document, this is how it looks like. So you can use Notepad, you can use Notepad++, you can use Sublime Text, you can use brackets, you can use, there's another one, I forgot. There are a lot of text editors that you can use. You can even use Atom, good, yes, Atom. You can also use, how do we call it? Microsoft Word. You can even use that one to also code it. As long as it's a text editor, you just have to use. The only thing that you have to know is that whatever you've done and you want to save it, you need to save it and give it the name, and make sure that whatever you are saving, you give it the name .html. So if it is home, I will now call it, maybe if it is a home page, I'll just make home.html. If it is registration page, which I want to call register, I'll just make it register.html. That's what matters. So all that you are doing, whatever you do in it, you make sure that you save it as what .html. And when you do that, immediately you do that, the file will now be seen as a web file. And your browser, which is the whatever is the default browser on your system, the icon will take up the file. Is that okay? So that is it. So let's quickly look at what we want to do. And here, we will not be able to cover all the, how do we call it, all the tags. But the most important one that we need for our enterprise application is what to look at. So if we are talking about the tags, the first thing is, if for instance, we want to display something on the screen, we have what we call the header tags that will make it look bigger. Or yeah, hello,
sir.
Yeah,
Please, can I ask this question?
yeah.
Is it, sir? Is it not necessary? You see, before you start your HTML tag, there is this. You bring your doc type before the HTML. Is
Yeah.
it not necessary when you don't bring the doc type?
Is it what you are just trying to? Yes, is to me, I don't actually look at it to be necessary. But what it means is that you are just telling the system that the document type is what HTML. But whatever, because you have started with an HTML, whatever that is in, the system will still render it as what an HTML. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So whether that is there or not, it still look at it as HTML. What if you look at if you have used NetBeans before, or those of you who have used Dev C++, you realize that anytime you start any program in C++, there are certain things that comes to tell you what you are doing, more or less like a note or a title to tell you that this is where you are. That is exactly what that doc type is doing. It does not actually have any too much significance on the documents that you are creating. You are just trying to tell the whoever open it to know that yes, this is what an HTML. Is that okay?
Okay, sure.
All right.
Okay.
So the first tag we want to look at is a tag that will give us heading, and we call them heading tags. And we have it H1. Just as you are seeing, we have H1, H2. We have it H1, H2. So whatever you put in, so I can put in that heading. This is heading 1, heading 2, and you have it up to heading 6. Sorry. So we have it up to heading 6. So I wanted to make a shortcut, but so that is 3 up to 6. So you may have H6, like that. So this is heading 6. Now, what this means is that the heading 1 is the biggest and followed by heading 2 in that order. So I'm going to save this file now, and I'm going to save it as save as. Oh, instead of save as, I use save. So save as, and I want to give it a different name and gives it to me. So I hope you can see how I'm going to save it. I'm now saving it day one .html. So that has been, and then now in that folder that it is, this is the folder that it is, you now see that it is showing day one HTML here, as you can see. Day one HTML, and my default browser has taken over. So I can now decide to open it for us to see how it looks like. And I'm using Brave as my browser. So let's see what is going to give us, how it will look like. Okay, let me use a different browser. So I want to open with Opera. While we wait for it, so we can discuss this. So that is how the headings goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't have heading, how do you call it? We don't have heading 7. We only have up to what? All right, so that is it. So you see how it goes. Heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. So heading 4 is, how do you call it? Is smaller than heading 3. Likewise, heading 5 is smaller than heading 4, and in that order. So that is the first one. Any question before we move on? Now that is, you realize that this heading is put in the body section. However, we have other tags that goes into the heading section, and one of those tags is what we call the title tag. Now, when we look at our browser, the title is what we normally see in when we try to. Okay, so let's see our page. Let's refresh it. So when you look at the top here, that is the title that we have added. But most browsers will render it using the name of the file if you have not supplied the title. Is that okay? Hello? Are you guys there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So there are others that will render it without the title, because if you have not specified the title, then the system will take. Yeah. Hello? So if you have not specified the title as I did, then the system is going to use a file name as the title of your document. We'll come back to the head. There are other things that will be put in the head. We'll come back later and talk about those things. Another significant tag that we also use is what we call the P tag. And the P tag is paragraph. So whatever you type in, this is my paragraph. It will be seen as a paragraph as compared to the rest of the text. So whatever you put in, we all know what a paragraph is. Whatever you put in now, it will be seen as a paragraph. So we have the P for paragraph. So if I have two of this, so it will treat all of them as a different paragraph. Is that okay? Then, even though we said this is a paragraph, we can also have a tag in it. Let's say we want this tag to be bold. Then we can do this and make it this way. So what is going to happen is, when I have this is my paragraph, then mine will be bold as compared to the rest of the text. Let's look at it and see. So when you look at it very well, you realize that in this particular one, the my here, as you are seeing, is bold. The same way, since I've mentioned bold, let me mention italics. We can also make italic. So italic tag is just I, and then an underline tag is what? U. So if you want to underline a text, you can use U to do that, to underline the text. So this is how it will look like. So you can see that it's underlined. The second one, this is my paragraph. The paragraph is italics. And then the other one, my is that. So we've used B, we use I, we use U. And we've also used P. Any question before we move on? Any question? Feel free and ask questions. Is that okay? The reason why I'm bringing this is most of these tags, we are going to use them when we move further. Maybe especially from tomorrow going, when we move further, this is where we are going to use these tags to create applications. These are the tags that we are going to use to create our own applications. So we need to understand them very well. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll move further, and in a situation where there is a need for us to bring in some tag, we will look at it later on. Okay. All right, so that is for those tags. Now, whatever we want to process, because ours is we are considering an enterprise application. Please, whoever have his video, kindly put the video off so that we don't drain our resources. When your video is on, okay, that's fine. Good. So one important thing in HTML that we normally use for enterprise application is table. And we have what we also call forms. So we are going to look at forms and forms controls, and then we'll also look at the tables. But before then, let's look at the tables. If you want to bring in a table, this is the tag. So we have a table tag. So in between these tables, each item will be treated as okay. Somebody is requesting an access to record the lecture. I'm already recording it. I am recording it. So when you look at your screen, at the top of your screen, you see recording there. I'm recording it, so you cannot have any other access to record it. As long as I'm recording, I think that is okay. So I will share with you guys at the appropriate time. Okay, Elom. All right. All right. So we have a table. Now, in HTML, the tables are looked in terms of rows. And the table also have two sections. The table have what we call the head, which we call T head. And then we also have what we call T body. So we have the T head, and then we have the body of the table. Now, in each of them, whether it is a T head or a TH, we need a row in it. So if you want to create it, you have TR. So we have created a row. So this is where we are going to define our header. So in this row, you now have to create another one which is called TH, which is also a header, showing that that is the header of the table. So if I want to have a table, which will be a list of all the students here, all that I have to do is create this, just like this. Maybe I want it to be, this is the serial number, and maybe name, and then here will be what? Campus. So this has become my table header. Then when I now go into the body, when I go into the body here, I'm going to bring the TR again. And then within the TR, because we have specified 3 columns here, this shows that this is 3 columns. So you also have to specify TD, and the TD stands for table data. So the table data will come in, then table data comes in as this table data. So whatever you want to put, so if I want to put here 1, and I want to put here Emmanuel, like this, then I want, so Emmanuel like this, and then I want to add the campus, I just have to add it here. So I'm done with that as a table. So let's see how our table will look like now. You see what happened here? We have gotten our table all right, but the table is not looking like a table, it just look like what? The normal typing that we were doing first. So what do I have to do? I need to supply certain attributes. I'm bringing in a term here, attributes. You see, as we have the table tag, and I'm bringing in something here like border, and I say border equals to, let's say 1. It means that the border is an attribute of the table tag. And when we talk about an attribute has a name and it has a value. So in this case, the border is the attribute name, and then the value is 1. So attribute has a name and it has a value. So the attribute is border, and then the value is what? 1. So let's see how it goes now. So you see now it has changed. We have the table has other attributes like cell padding, let's say 2. Then it has another one called cell spacing, also equal, let's say 2. Now the cell padding is how the text will look like around the text. Around the text, how we want it to look like. And then the spacing, how it will space the cells. That's what it means. So this is how your table looks like. Now, let's go back. The question here is, if I want to bring in another list, what do I have to do? It means I have to copy this and recreate another list, for instance, this way, and add like this. Then I have to do this too. Maybe I'm giving this to Elom, that those are like this, and Elom is from who? So I have to do this. So what is going to happen is when we go back to look at it, we'll now have two. Good. Now, all the lists that you normally see online, most of the lists, I will tell you about 90% of the lists that we normally see online. We go online, we see a lot of lists. About 90% of them are represented in tables. Table is one of the very important tools in HTML that we use to display lists. Right. Now, if you are fetching the record from the database, how am I going to display this list in such a way that if it is 1,000 records, all the 1,000 records will come? That is where we are going to combine a script, a server-side script with the HTML, and the server-side script is the one that is going to fetch the record from the database. Before again, let me explain this very well. What we are doing now is we want a situation where we will be able to save a record into a database, and we should be able to retrieve that record. At the same time, we should be able to delete the record. We should also be able to edit or modify that record. Is that not it? Now, in doing these things, the HTML, what the HTML does is the HTML does not communicate with the database. HTML cannot access anything from a database. There is a script that can access that from a database. Such script is what we call server-side scripts. And an example of a server-side script is PHP. Another example is JSP, which we call Java Server Pages. We also have what we call ASP, which is Active Server Pages, and then PHP, so, and Perl. These are the scripts who is going to serve as an ambassador between whatever we are doing and then, how do we call it? Whatever is going to happen on the page. So for instance, if you can see my screen, we have our HTML, just like this, sitting here. Then we have something here. And then another thing here. Okay, so we have our HTML. Sorry, let me pick it back. So we have our HTML somewhere here. So this is our HTML. And that is what the browser understands most. Then we have something here too. And then from there, we also have another thing here this way. So this is the DB. And this is a PHP, for instance, what we are going to use. That is going to communicate to the database, get a result from the database, display the result on the HTML, or get a result from the HTML. So in application development, they normally refer to application as what? A 3-tier application. The 3-tier application is that you have something like this. So this is the front tier, which we normally refer to as a front end. And then this is the middle tier. And then this is the back end. Is that okay? So it is just serving the scripting languages that are here, which is normally in the middle tier. What they normally, which is the middle tier, what they normally do is that they serve as an interpreter. So if I'm speaking to you, maybe you speak French, I don't speak French, but I speak Russian. And we have somebody who understands French, or I speak English, or you also don't speak English. So communicating will be there will be a difficulty in communicating. So what is going to happen is we get an interpreter who understands both languages. So when I speak, he translates it to you in French, and when you also speak, he translates it back to English. That is what the script does. especially the middle tiers. So that is it. In those days, when people are building applications, when they are invited in companies to come and build applications, when they are employed and they build application as a 3-tier application. So when they are leaving, most of the time when they are leaving, they take the middle tier away. And this is where the most of the works are. They take the middle tier away. So what is now happening is that it is very difficult to sometimes de-associate the middle tier with the back end now. And other applications are also using both the back and then both the middle tier and the front end, they put it together. So that is how it's going to happen. So what is going to happen when we get to PHP is that in the table where you want to display your list, you only need one aspect of the row. So in here, we are going to use loops, which you know of already, but we'll go through it. We'll use loops now, and then the loops will go through the database. So if there are 1,000 records, the loops will fetch the 1,000 record and display it. If it is just 3, the loop will fetch the 3 and display it. That is how it's going to be. So all these numbers that we have put here, we'll not put it manually, but we'll do something to put it there. And the name too will not be putting the name there manually, but the system will fetch the name for us. And for instance, the campus to the system will fetch it for us. Is that okay? So that is why the using, how do we call it, table is very, very important when it comes to, how do we call it, web development. Now, with that much I said, there are times where we have things like this. Some of us, we want to create a table that we may have something like this. Yes, this is my table, all right. I have this, it goes through like this is a table. And then I have something like this. Bear with me with the drawing, right? You realize that the line, this line is supposed to continue. Likewise, this line too is supposed to continue. But there are times you have tables like this, especially if it is timetable, where the period are double, then they merge it. If you want to do that in a ATM, how do you go about it? We have what we call call span and then row span. That's what we'll look at now. So because I want to show you row span and then call span, what we'll need to do now is this. Instead of this, I'll add another column to it so that we have.
Wow. Please, what did you say was the meaning of the TR?
Pardon?
The TR.
Table row.
Okay, table row, okay.
Yeah. So the TH is still table head. And then, how do we call it? The TD is table data. And then the TR, as I said, is table row. So let's assume we have this. And then let me just make a section. It's not going to be applicable to what we are doing as such anyway, but the understanding is what is important. So if I have this, and then I have something like this, what is going to happen is I have my first table and I put here money. Then I need a second row. But in the second row, okay, let's go this way. Let me go this way. Let's make it campus here rather. And then surname, then maybe other names. Okay. So yeah, when we come, we are going to put Busiako here and try to say, okay, other name is Emmanuel. And then the campus is Mercy. Now, we want to look at the second one. And then the second one, what we want to do is we want to put, we'll take this one off. So for example, I'll just put here, Nuku ta you. Now, for me doing this, when you look at this now, the first one is 4 columns, but here I'm making it 3 columns. If you leave it this way, let's see how it will behave in there. You see how the table behave? That's not the best way for the table to behave, because the Kumasi have to go to the where it's supposed to be. So how do we make it so that everything will be intact? So because I'm using this to cover 2 columns, you bring an attribute of the table data called call span. Sorry, call span. And then you make it that. So what you are saying is that the column should span to what? 2. So when you bring 2, it means it's going to take the 2 and span, and what we normally refer to as merging the columns is what will happen. So let's see how it goes now.
So the call span, I think there's a mistake in the spelling.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Call span. Yes, yes. So call span. So you see how it looks like now. So it makes the first, the same name, and then the other name row now to cover. Now you can move ahead and try to bring this after that. Then now we can bring 3 and then decide, okay, this is give me a name. Okay, Emmanuel, or the Emmanuel people are doing too much. We are using them. So we have a Philip. So we can use Philip here. Philip, then Philip what? Kuma. So Kuma is here. And Kuma is from Suga Cover. Okay, so if it happened that way, now let's see how our list or table look like. So you realize that the second one, the table has become normal. Is that okay? Any question? Now, in regards to that, another one that we make use of is a row span. If you want to make a row span, there is some technicalities that I have to do when you are dealing with row span. Now, look at this. I'm pasting this again. I'm copying this and I'm pasting it to show you the row span. And I'll paste it again for us to see the row span very well. So 4, 5. Okay. So what is going to happen is when I bring here row span and make it also 2, it means that whatever I put here is going to affect the second row. So here I don't have to have this again. So I need to have only 3 here. Hello. Please, let's look at this. You see where I put the row span? The moment I put row span here, it means that this column should now span and across the next row. So the next row, I don't need to make the same column to be 4, but rather have to reduce it. Is that okay? So let's see how this will end up showing for us to see very well. Then we understand. You see what is happening? Have you seen what happened? Have you seen what happened?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any question to ask? Do you understand it? Any question? Please talk. Oh. Huh? Hello?
Ah.
We are following.
There is no question, sir.
So you are okay. So that is how
Yes, sir.
the row
Yes, sir.
span and then the column span works. That is how the row span and then the column span work. So if you understand how to use the row span, for instance, in this table, if you were to have, oh, we are just losing people and they are coming back gradually. Okay. If you were to have it as, let's say, these are values here and we want to find the total here, then when you come down, the last one, for instance, that we want to do, you can just put it back and say, okay, total, like this. So when I want to do this, I'll just leave this and put here total, and then make it cost span equal to 1, 2, 3, 3, and then this is where the total have to be. So maybe I put in my total like this. So you now see that we have total and then it is there. And we'll be seeing this on web a lot, and we'll be seeing this in a lot of applications where they find total and then they do that. Any questions? So should we move on?
Yes,
Should we
sir.
move on?
Let's move on, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that is for table. Now let's look at forms. Normally, these table and forms are used interchangeably to achieve a purpose. And I also like doing that. But we have to treat each of them separately. Now, when you bring in a form, this is how it goes. You have a form, tag, form, and then that one too, you have the form, you close it. So the form, you now have other details here. We'll be looking at form controls. So here, the form has a name and it has an ID, and you also have what we call action, and you also have what we call method. The methods are two. We either have get, let me just put it here. You either have, sorry. The methods, you either have get, which is this get, or post. So when we talk about the methods, it is either get or post. I won't talk about it now. When we get to the PHP, then I'll tell you why it is get, why when you are supposed to use get, and when you are supposed to use post, and what are the advantages and then the disadvantages of using get or and post. Is that okay? Now, the action here is when you specify a script so that when this form is submitted, you want a particular script to be called. Then if the script is, let's say, insert, you can put insert.php there. So when you put a button here and then they click that button, all the things on the form will be passed over to the insert PHP file that you have created, and then the PHP file now executes a code. Is that okay? That is it. Now, we have controls on a form. We have form controls. And as I said, I normally use, if I want to make a control, or one of the best is to use the table for it. So for instance, I bring in TR without necessarily bringing in the T, the TH, the TD, and the T head, and then the T body. I just bring this, or you have to just bring this. And then you bring your TD, and then probably you bring another one. One thing of the table that I also forget is we can also give the table a width. And now we don't want to specify the width in percentage. Others specify it in pixel, but the sure bet or the correct one now is percentage. We'll explain to later. Okay, so I bring border equals to 1. Good. Then probably I say, okay, name. Now, when you do this name, you expect the user to type in the name. Is that not it? Now, there is a control that we use to get the name. And that control is what we call the test input. So if I want to create another one, I will do this. Then let me make password. So if I want the ordinary text field so that I can type in, then I have to bring input type equals text. Then so I bring in the text. Then I may bring in other things like ID. You need to give it an ID. So I want to call it name test. And then I also want to, I can add required, which means that it is something that we have to enter. If you don't enter, the system will not allow you. And there is another thing that you normally see, placeholder and enter name. So sometimes when we go to the web, we see certain texts, and then we see that, oh, when we click on it, it changes and allows us, for instance, enter name. As you can see on the screen, enter name. The moment I click on it and start typing name, so Newton, you see that that is gone. If I bring it and type in a different name, Emmanuel is gone. Right. So what is actually showing as enter name printed, that is the placeholder that is doing that work for us. So if you take the input type, if you just want a text, then you make it text. If it is a password that you want for it to show a password field, then all I have to do with this one is maybe I give it a name, password. The names have to be unique on the form. No two controls on the same form should have the same name. So here, the type now, I'll change the type to what? Password. And the moment I do that, it will now allow me to enter, and it will be seen as what? Password as I type in. So all I have to do is make sure whatever I put in there should be enter password. Any question? Any question? We also move further. Then let's see. Now another control, maybe you want the person to select gender. Then another control that we use is what we call select. And this is how select is. Select is a little bit different from the input type. So here you bring option, as you are seeing. So you have option. So in this case, we want to male and female. So you do it, and then that's so in here you type in male, then in here you type in female. So if your options are going to be 10, you have to bring all these options and you have to make it 10. So you see it here. So you have male, female. Now, some of them, you realize that when the form starts, you don't see anything unless you click in it. You don't see anything, unlike what you are seeing now as what? Male first, which shouldn't be the case. So what do? Normally, what we do is you bring in one option at the beginning, one option this way, and you leave it to be empty so that I don't put anything in that one. So when that happens, and then you call it just as it is now, you realize that you don't see anything unless you select, you click on it. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Are you guys there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Uh-huh.
sir, Jonathan has a question.
Okay.
Sir,
Uh-huh.
so please, does it mean that we have to repeat the same thing for the other ones?
For
Like
the
us
other,
in the agenda right now.
uh-huh. Yes, if your options are many, then you have to use that. For instance, if you are dealing with regions now in Ghana, if you are dealing with regions, now we have 16 regions, so you have to bring that, all of them that way. But one interesting thing is, if you have saved these options, for instance, you are applying for a program, like a university, a bigger university like Legon and NK University, where they have a lot of programs. You realize that you go to a drop down and then all the programs are loaded up from there. Where do they get it from? They did not enter all of them like option like this. They are pulling the programs from a database. So you can also use a loop here with a script language to repeat something here from the database, like just like what I was showing you in the table. So if the programs are in the database, you can load the programs into the select. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let's say you are creating an application for a bank, okay? And the bank will be opening new branches. So you have a place where you enter the branches. So immediately you enter the branch and somebody goes to create an account, and that branch should be available for the other person to select. That branch will be popping up in a select box, and we have to use select. We have to use PHP to fetch the record from the database and populate it in the select box. I will show you how to do that. That is why I'm spending time to explain the basis of these controls, especially those that we'll be using when we get to the app development, where we'll be using PHP. So you realize that you will be using these items so well, especially the select box and then the table in getting your records from the database. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Should we have a break or we should continue?
So
So
let's
let's
continue.
Okay. So that is for the select. And then we also have then we have what we call a button. So we have two types of them. We can have one like this. I'm now putting it outside the table in the input type. If you want it to be a button, then you bring submit. Then that submit, you have a value. The value is the value is what you want to appear on it. Maybe save. You want to click like save.
Hello,
Or,
sir.
yeah, add. Yes. Yeah. I'm listening. Somebody call. I thought somebody wanted to make a point. Okay. Okay. So you see what I'm having? The type is submit, and then the value is add. The value there, and it also have an ID. So maybe I'm giving it BTN add. The value here is what will appear on the button. Okay. And the submit here is the type submit is telling it that it should be what?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello. Yes. Hello. Somebody was trying to ask a question. Hello. Hello.
Please, let's go on.
Sir, it's not a question. This is Jacob.
Okay.
So in fact, I'm having challenge with my internet very, very bad. I'm not getting the concept very well. Is it possible I can get a video after the class?
Okay. I'm recording it. So at the end of it, I'll share it with you guys.
Okay, sir.
The only thing is that when we finish the meeting, because it's huge, it had to be converted before it can be played. So when that is done, I'll share it with you guys.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So the submit tell the browser that what we want is the submit button, just as you are seeing. So let's look at it, how it looks like. So that is how you see. So you can be clicked. This is what you see, because they are on a form. Good. Can you see this? What do you notice? Do you know why it's giving us this? It's more or less a validation. It is more or less a validation. It is doing that because they are all on the same form, and this name we put required here. Sorry, I think the network is bad. Okay. What we are seeing there is as a result of this required that we put here. And because the button is also on the same form with this control. So if you click the submit button, it means that you want to submit something. So, but you put required here, which means that what this field, you need to enter something to that field. Whatever is supposed to be entered into this field is required. So the system by itself will try HTML way, will try to control it. So if I enter something now, and I've not entered a password and I click again, it tells you that please fill in this field. This is HTML's way of controlling inputs, but it doesn't work with all other inputs. So we may have another way out where we'll control the input, and that is where we use JavaScript for updates and for validations. Is that okay? Okay, so that is a button. This is an submit button, but we have another button, and we just have go this way button. We have button. Then here you put whatever you want to appear, maybe save record. That is what I want it to appear. Now this is also a button, but this button, it counts, but look at it. It's also behaving that way because it's also on the same form. But if it's not on the form, it won't behave that way. So that is also another button. And this button, you can use it and even move ahead and say type equals button. Now, after I made the type equals button, let's see what happened again. Now, because I made it to be a button now, nothing can happen, nothing is happening because this is a button. But if I change that button again, instead of making a type button and change it to a submit, then it will be behaving like the submit button. I'll tell when we move further and go to CSS, why people prefer using button instead of the submit button. I'll explain there. So somebody should be taking a note on that. Things that I said that when we get to somewhere, I'll explain. Then you remind me of it. So I'll explain why people prefer using button instead of input submit button, using a normal button instead of the submit button. So Iba, you take record of that for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that is that. Then we have other ones like which other control? We have what you call, another one is this input type equals, is it check? We have the checkbox there. We also have value. Put it there. Let me check. There is another way out. Okay, so we have the checkbox. We'll look at them later. We have the radio button. What other controls we have? We have another important control which I've forgotten. It is the same as the input here. One trick is, okay, it's like this. But instead of having type here to be text, it is called hidden. You put hidden there. What this does is that when we go to the form, we won't see it. Most of the time, it is used to keep records for updates. So you pick the record, all right, but I don't want the user to see it. So you hide it. There is something that you don't want the user to see, but you need it on the form, but I don't want the user to see it. You hide it. That is why we use the hidden. Any questions so far? All right, so
The gender, is there a way you can span it to be equal to the table?
I don't get it. I don't get what you are saying. Can you please come out clear? I don't get what you are saying.
The select option.
You mean where the size will be equal to the length of the table?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That one, it is CSS that you use to do it. It is CSS that we can use to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So, yes, this is just a sample form with the input type, password, all of them are there, login form and all those things. So that is how it looks like. All right. Okay. Let me try to run this form also for you to see how it also looks like. You see, that is it. But because this is not used in a table, the one that I just showed is not used in a table. You see, the alignment is not okay.
Okay, so in this case, can't you make them all align?
Yes, you can. You see, most of the things that we will do to beautify the page will be dependent on what we call this, will be dependent on the CSS. But now we have not gotten to the CSS. The CSS is to beautify it. Look at this one too. Yes, we also have what we call a file upload. Very good. And the file upload is like this. This is the file upload document. Input type, then you make it file. You just bring the input just this way, and you make it type equals what file. So immediately you do that, then you are going to get this file upload, this thing, this one. And when you click on it, you know what it does. You see what is happening. It is trying to help you select a file. So
Upload it.
then you select a file. Immediately select the file, the name of the file comes here. So if it is something that we want to insert into the database, when we click submit and everything is done, we are going to insert it. And then here, normally when we go, they ask us to leave a message, leave message. It's also a different input type. And that input is what we call test area. That is what you are seeing here, test area. So the test area, you can specify the number of rows and you can specify the number of columns. The number of rows that you specify, that makes it to look wider in height, in terms of height. The columns are specified in terms of what? Width. So when you look at this now, looking at how it is, you see how it is? This is, the column goes this way, and then the height comes down, which is the row. So if I change it now to, let's say row to be 3, and then we save this, you will now see the difference. Look at it and then see the difference now, because the row has been reduced. Likewise, if I go up now and up there and reduce the columns to, let's say 20, and then we go back to see how the page will look like. You see how it is. But one advantage about it is, irrespective of how small it is, it can carry a whole lot of things. And the corner here, you can even pull it up. As you are seeing, you can pull it and then you can absorb a lot of text. Any question? Any question before I move on?
Send the legend.
Okay. The legend, this is what we call frame set. Using a frame set to get the legend. So we put everything within the frame set. Sorry, the full set. So the full set has what we call, it also have another tag, just like the table has. So we have in it, you have what we call the legend. So your legend goes here. So it's more or less what you are saying. We want to say that, oh, registration details. Maybe we want to put registration details. So it's more or less like a box where that will describe everything that you are doing. So we call it a full set. So you can bring the full set in, and then within the full set, you specify the legend. If you decide to ignore it, all that you see, for example, if this is not here, all that you see is this. You see it this way. So it just gives you a border over the page. Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm just trying to see if I can get several forms and show you examples of the items. All right, so that is just by the way. Any other question, suggestion, contribution?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please. Come on.
Apart from your first table that we created,
Mhm.
that has got the T head.
Mhm.
The rest of your table hasn't got the T head, and then it just starts with the TR. Is
Yes.
it like the T head is not that necessary in table making or
You
something?
see, looking at what I'm doing with this, for instance, this one, as you are talking about, what I'm doing with this, I don't need a header. Do you get it? I don't need a
Yes.
column header. What I'm doing with this table now, I'm just using this table to make my form look nice. Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
But in the other examples that you were talking about, like this, the first table that we created, we need the table header to show that this is what we are doing. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
No, do you get it?
Yes, I get it. I get it.
So depending on what you are doing, yeah, we are, as I'm just saying, we are just using the table to get our forms and others to look good. But in the other instances, we are just using it to display as a list. So in here, you can use a table as a report just to display something. And then you can also use it to position your controls very well. All right, that is a very good observation. Any other question? Look at this one too. This is also a table, but here, you see, here we have the title of the music, we have the artist. Here we need those headers to show that this is what we are doing. So this is how it goes. So even there is another one we call caption. And when you look at the page, the caption, which is also part of the table, I'll have to de-associate this and explain to you people very well. Okay. If you look at it very well, I have a caption. The table has another tag, which we call the caption. Is that okay? And the caption is what we are showing here. So the caption is what is here. Okay. Let's go back, then I'll explain. So that is a caption. The first one is not part of the table. It's just an H1 that we use. Now, when you look at the text that is going from left to right, the tag that is making this text to go from left to right or the other way is what we call mark Q. This is the one that is making that to happen. So if you want your text to scroll, then you can use a mark Q. And then you also have a behavior, whether it will scroll. So find out what are the behaviors of a mark Q. What are the behaviors? If you are using mark Q, what other behaviors does it have? And then you can also specify whether you want it to move from left to right or right to left. Right? When you go online, you will get it. And it has a lot of attributes that you have to use. So that is that. So that makes it to go. Now, when you look at what I've done, we have the caption. We have the caption. That is how it's supposed to be. Then in between the caption, we have other tags. So we said the tag is what? We have there's a nested tags. So these are nested tags. So in the mark Q, we have another text, and then in that text, we try to put the text as H1. You get that is what is happening there. Is that okay? Hello? Does it make
Yes,
sense?
sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me see if I can get another example to show you.
Sleep is about to catch my eye.
Sleep is about to catch you. Don't let it catch you. Okay. So That is it. We have about 30 minutes more. I think this we were able to do only one part. So it doesn't matter. Tomorrow when we come, we'll continue from where we left. Then we'll move on. Okay. We are not going to rush. Even if it will take us 15 days to finish, we'll do that. Right? The
Yes, sir.
practical aspect is what I'm so much concerned about.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is just the introduction. So when we move further, you will understand and then things will go faster. Okay. Now let's look at links and then how do we call it? Links and lists.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Please, when you are using the marquee,
Mhm.
are you supposed to bring the caption, or you can use the marquee without the caption?
Yeah, you can use the marquee without a caption.
Oh,
What I'm saying is because this is in a table, we decided to use the one in the table because we want the sorry. So let me just show you something quickly. What is the other one that we opened? Good. Let's assume this is one that we are using the template, for instance. I have all your documents. So, okay, so I'm back to yes. Okay. So even when you look at this particular page that we started with, we don't have this very page. We don't have the marquee in. So I'm trying to put that marquee in, then you see. So in the body before our this thing, I just paste this text here, then put it okay. And I've done that. So let's go back and see. So it is now there.
So that's the beauty of the marquee.
Yes.
Okay.
And as I was saying, you can decide to select a direction. It has an attribute called direction. And you just specify, let's say left. You can either specify left, right, up, or down. So let's say up and see how it will be. Have you seen that?
Okay.
Because we have specified this thing as sort up, and then the behavior. Let me just finish this up. The behavior, we can also change the behavior to be either sliding. So let's see how sliding will work first. So you have scroll, you have sliding. Is this scroll or slide? Okay, it should be slide, not sliding. You see how it's behaving. So just a slice will come and stay. Do you get a point? When you pick PowerPoint to use as a slide, for instance, when it comes and stay. And you can also use alternate. So let's see how the alternate also work. You see the alternate?
Hello, sir.
So that is how it goes.
Sir.
Yeah.
So with this one, is there a way that you can determine the speed too?
Yes. We have what we call the scroll delay. We have what we call the scroll delay. Let me just Google something and see. Okay. Let me bring this to your view to see. Look at it. It has a width, it has a height, it has a direction, it has a scroll delay, scroll amount, provide value for speeding the marking feature, behavior, loop, VG color, V space, VS space, and then H space. So these are, okay, let me go down. So look at some of the examples. So you have a height, then a scroll down, it uses a scroll bar down, then left. When you bring the direction to right, it will scroll from left to right. So here, when you go to W3 school, you get it. You see, so let me see where they use it and the scroll amount. You see the scroll amount is here. So when you make it 20, it will be faster than 12. 1 will be slow. Okay, let me just go and add this there for you to see. Okay. So make it 1. You see what is happening? Reason, do you see what is happening? I want to change the direction instead of up.
Yes.
It just be, let's say, right, so that we can see it very well. So you see what is happening. It's just there because of the scroll effect and whatever we added. Scroll one direction. Okay. Scroll. See, it is now very slow. Okay. So that is just by the way. Now let's look at the list and then what we refer to as the list. Okay. Okay, we have two major types of lists that when we are dealing with HTML that we normally use. We have a list that is ordered and a list that is not ordered. So if in this table, I want to create a list that is ordered, all that I have to do is, okay, so can I, okay, let me just put this one off. So if I want to create a list, maybe listing all the regions in Ghana, all that I have to do is when I bring OL, when we say a list is ordered, then it means it follows a particular order. So I bring LI. So whatever I type in there, in between this list, let's say Shanti. So we'll have something like this. So I have Ashanti, then we have Bono East. They have Central, then maybe you have Eastern in that order. So this is an ordered list. Now, when you do this, what is going to happen is the system or the browser will render it as this 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order. So this list is ordered because it is in some particular order. That's what we mean. Now, the question you ask is where do we get the 1, 2, 3 from? That by default, when you go this way, it gives you 1. But if you don't want the 1, then in the OL you bring type. Then this type, if you bring small a, it gives you the type. Let me check something. This is a different. Moment, please.
Hello.
But the attributes for the list are, we have a. I just want to get a particular note and share with you. That is why that's. A moment, please. We have attribute. Is it type I? I'm forgetting the types. That is what I'm trying to see if I can. Good. So when you use the small I, you get I Roman numeral, and if you use a big I, it means you are going to get the same Roman numeral, but now it will be R. So what if I want A, B, C, D? Then you have to use capital A rather. I think so. Then that is also going to give you.
So please, what's the meaning of that tag? OL. It's just OL.
Yes, the tag is OL, and the OL actually stands for ordered list.
Okay.
So if you want to present this list not to be in any order, then this will become UL, which is an unordered list, which is unordered list. You understand? Now, the unordered lists have two types. The default is circle, and another type will be square. So this is unordered list. I think I've not seen it. Yeah. So you see what is happening? That is the default. But if you don't want the circle or the bullet, then you can just bring square. These are the only two. But what if you bring triangle? Can we get something? To the best of my knowledge, it's only 2. I don't know. Anything can happen today. Yes, if you bring something that he doesn't understand, it goes to the default, which is a bullet. So it's only alternate between square and circle. Any question? Any question? Are you guys sleeping?
No, sir.
No, sir, we are here.
Sir, we are
not sleeping.
All right, so let's
cough.
look at the next thing. That is links. This one I have to, the next one, which is the links, I have to explain certain things to you very well. In HTML, we have 3 types of links, right? We have we have 3 types of links. 3. One is intra. Okay, let me just start. As I'm saying, we have 3 types of link. So we have types of link. One is what we call intra-system link. Then we have inter-page links. Then we have 3 inter-system links. Now these links, what are they do? The intra-system link is that you go to a particular page and you have the link there. So maybe you click on the link and then the page either looks like it is going up or is going down for you to get that. The page doesn't change, it is the same page. Hello? Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
It looks like it is the same page, but the page just scroll up or scroll down for you to see whatever you are looking for. Then the interpage links. The interpage link is that you have about 2 or 3 pages. Do you get it? And you are on page 1, and then you click on a link, then it takes you to page 2. Then you click again, it takes you to another page. That is interpage link. It is the same, they are all in the same system. Then intersystem link is where, for instance, you are on Facebook and you click a link on Facebook, then it opens a different, it takes you to, let's say, Twitter, or it takes you to Instagram. That is intersystem link. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
For instance, you go to GTUC website, then you click on a link, and then the link takes you to, let's say, University of Ghana website, right? That is what inter-system links. But if you click on a link, just as you've been doing, maybe view result, then it takes you to a different page, but of the same website or the same company, then that is what interpage links. But the intrasystem link is when you are on the same page, not that the page changes, but just that the focus changes. This is an example. I will show you how to do it, but I want to show you how it works. Can you all see this page? The page is up. If you look at it, there are a lot of things on this page. So I click on go to news. You see what happened? It's the same page. It jumps. I go by there, I say sports news. It jumps and locates where the sports news is for us. But when we were scrolling, you have to scroll before you get to the sports news and even go down. But now we are here. When we click on go to news, it gives us where news is, and sports news too. It gives us the section where the sports news is. And then here, go to other page. You see, fetch a different page for us. Are you following what I'm saying? So this first one that gives us to sports news and go to news is the intra page links. This one gives us, that send us to another page, is what we call the intersystem link. Now, if you have another one that will take us to a different website, then that is what inter-system link. Is that okay?
Okay.
So let's look at how we do this. Now, most of the time, if the list, whatever you are doing is not many to, the text is not much to cover the, look at this. If you want to create a link, all that we use is we use another tag we call the anchor tag, A, and then you specify the href. So for instance, when you are looking at this, I want to start from a different place, then I show you how it works. Okay, so if you come to the inter-system link, you have your link here. This is how you create your link. I have created my link here. Now I explain why I have this here. So this is how the link is. So whatever you see in between the A, this is, when you do this, you have created a link. So whatever you see in between the A shows the link. Maybe register. Now, the anchor tag also have what we call an attribute called href. And this href is what directs where the page is supposed to go. So what normally happens is, if it is intra-page, just as I was saying, if it is an intra-page, then you need a lot of document, you need a lot of text before you can get that. So look at this here. You see here, we call it news. We put hashtag news here. It means that there is an attribute or there is an area called news. So when you go down with the text, you see here, we have created another anchor tag here, and we call that anchor tag news. So what it's saying is that this section, when you refer to, the moment you put in here and you put this section here as news, like this, and you put here hash news, what you are saying is that when somebody click on register, the document should jump to this section of the page. But as I'm saying, if you don't have a lot of things, you will not notice the change. As you look at this, you will not see it. You see, when I click on register, it will come there because the page is just small, so you don't see. So normally, what you do before you understand this is to put in a lot of text. So these text that I copy, I'm going to put it just after the, you see, I've pasted a lot of them now. So I'll save it. Let's see how the page looks like again. You see that when the news is no more showing, it's now down. Have you seen that? Now, let's go back to the text again and see where the news section is and paste some there too and save. So our idea now is that when we come here and we click on this register that is here, it should jump and come and show us here. So let's see if it will work. You see, it has just shown us the session. Let me go back again. It has shown us the session. So that is how the intra-page links work. So with the intra-page link, you need to have the tag first, and then the section that you want it to jump to, then you name the section as it is. So if I have another one, just as maybe this is for news, and I have another one, which is supposed to be for sports, it means I have to name it, maybe I can decide to say SP. Then I need to have another session. And that session, I need to name that anchor there as what? Just as what I use up here, SP, and maybe probably put here sports news. Sports news. But look at it, the second one is not have the href. So it means that it cannot be clicked as a link. It cannot be used as a link. If it doesn't have the href, you just see it as a session. Look at it. When you look at these ones look like link, but this, because it's not having the href, it doesn't look like what? A link. If we go back now and add href to any of them, href, and even do this, just this way. When we refresh the page now, it will look now as a link, which can be clicked. Hello? Hello?
Hi. Hi.
All right, so that is that. Let's just finish this off quickly. Now, if I have another page saved in the same document, then I want to refer to that page. Then I can use this instead of me to bring the just guy. I'll now call the name of the page. So if my page is register.html, I'll just put it there. And when I click on this now, the idea is that it should take me to that register page. So quickly, let's look at something and create a page called register, where I'm just going to copy this and paste there. Then maybe you call it, for us to know how our link is working, we just put here register, and then the title to is what? Register. So we will save it in the same folder, and then we'll call it, what is the name we are going to give? So we just give it register.html. So we have it. Now, when we go back now, when we click on register, we expect it to show us that form. So let's look at this. So I'm clicking. You see the register form is now in. I'm going back again. Register. So on the register form, we can also decide that, okay, we want another one on that form, which will take us back. So we have this, and then we call it home. And that one is going to what? So the name is day1.html. So that one is also going there. So when we go back, let me refresh. So I click here, register, I go, click on home, I'm back. I will see what is happening. We are now alternating between them. So this one is inter-system link because they are all in the same system. So inter-system link. Now, let's go to,
hello, sir.
Yeah.
So please, did you say intersystem?
Yes.
Or interpage?
Inter-system.
Okay.
Inter-system link. We have intra-system link, inter-system link, and then inter-system link. Now, if I want to link to something on the web or another, then for instance, let's look at home. If we want to connect to our GCTU website now, all that we have to do is this. Then maybe I put here GCTU. So here, I'll just put http www.gctu.edu.gh. Now when I do this, and then we go to the browser now, we have GCTU here, and I click. Because I have an internet connection. Can you see the change here? Can you already see the change here? That is trying now to connect to GCTU website. So this is inter-system, right? This is inter-system, moving from one system to the other. Likewise, if I want it to be, let's say, okay, let's look at this. Then maybe Google. You want to go to Google. Then what is it? It's just google.com. So when we go back there, we have Google, and then when we go, it also takes us to what? Google. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I think we have to end it here today.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, please with the links, please come again. We have inter and what?
We have intra-page links, or other way, intra-system link. Yeah. Then we have inter. Don't worry. So hold on. Let me check something. Then we have intra-page link, intra-system link, and then inter-system link. Yeah. Intra-page link. Then we have intra-system links. Then we have inter-system links. That is it. Are you okay?
Yes, sir.
But hold on. Whilst I try to find out something, if you have any question, you can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Please, I wanted to ask that at times you visit some websites that when you visit and you leave there to another website, it's supposed to show at the top so that when you want to go back, you can just go back. But when you leave there to another website, it doesn't show.
I see. I understand. Let me I will explain that one to you very soon. I just want to find out something quick. Okay, I'll find out, then I'll get you. I just want to be sure of the names that I'm using. That's all. Inter-system link, intra-system link.
So I think we have inter-page and inter-system and intra-page.
Okay.
So please confirm.
Yes, I'll confirm. That is exactly what I want to do.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So please, aside the practical aspect, will there be slides on each?
No, you want me to give you a slide?
If that will be possible.
Okay. Yes, that is it. Intra-page, intra-system, and then inter-system. Yeah. Intra-page, intra-system, and then inter-system. Are you guys okay now?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Intra-page, intra-system, and then inter-system.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have two intra and one inter.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Per what you are saying, let me just demonstrate for you, then you understand. You see, the anchor tag has something we call, another attribute we call target. So you see, we want to create a register. So you have target equals now blank. When you do it this way, let's go back and see something now. Please, all of us should observe very well. Okay, let me just speak. Just take these things out. You see the tabs that I'm having now. Now, when I click on register, you see the register opens in a different tab and the home is still there. Watch it again. Let me close all other tabs now. So how many tabs am I having? I have only one. So when I click on the register, look at the register. It opens and then the first page that you were is still there. When you click again, it opens another one and the old one is there. So you now have two of them. So when you want it to happen that way, then you add this target and then it should be equal to underscore blank. So it will open in a new tab. Is that not what you were asking of?
Yes, sir.
So what it means is if you go online, you can just type target of anchor. When you do that, you see a lot of them. The most commonly used one is the blank, but we have other attribute other values for the targets where we have the blank, we have the self. The self opens the link document the same frame as it was clicked, and this is a default. We have parent, opens the link document in the parent frame, and we also have top, open the link document in the fully body of the window. So here you can also change it to top. So let's see how the top will look like. You get it? It's just most of them, the one that actually shows much is the blank. Is that okay? So
Yes,
those,
sir.
yeah. So you have a blank self parent at the top and then a frame name. If you have a frame that you want it to open it, you can also use a frame. Any other question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other question? Is it getting interesting?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Philip,
sir. Very interesting.
Philip, are you there? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll try to organize some notes and give you actually, so that I have the notes there, so I'll just send it to you. Then we'll go through. Philip, are you there? Philip, are you there? Okay, so if you don't have any question, then we have to.
Sir.
Yeah, any question?
Sir, concerning the doc type that Yuma asked, if this is HTML that we are doing, and then I want to be able to tell this is HTML5, is it not the doc type that is going to allow me know or see something like that?
You see, it will, but as I was saying, the declaration actually doesn't have so much effect on the current browsers.
Okay.
Me, one thing I keep on saying is I just want to create an app, okay? So I don't want to waste so much time on certain things that if in a class, fine. You see, the doc type declaration is not an HTML tag. It is an information to the browser about that what document type to expect. Do you know that even in HTML5 now, you don't even add the one that if it is 3 or 4, you don't even add it. The previous one you have to add whether it is HTML2, HTML3 or whatever. But in the HTML5 now, you just make it doc type. And the declaration is simple. That is just going to tell, okay, there are some, in the HTML4, the declaration is very, very long. So I'm looking at that, wasting your time on that, it doesn't matter. And it's also not case sensitive. This is how you do it. Because you come to the top here, you just put it here. That's all. That is it. You are just saying that the doc type is what? It's a tip. It's just a tip that you are giving. Do you get it?
Okay.
Yes.
So it's not something that is so much important that will affect your no. All right. Any question? I hope you have all picked your project that you want to do.
Wait.
The project that you want to do. You've all picked it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when we get there, we'll use it, and everybody will be moving step by step, and I will pick a different thing. So I'll guide you, and then I'll let you know that okay, this is what I'm doing. So you to follow it and do it so that it goes into your table. You get there. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So the recorded video, did you say you are going to put it?
Yeah,
on
I'll share it
YouTube?
with you guys. Don't worry.
I heard something from the beginning that you are going to create
A YouTube channel and put it there. Okay. All right. So have a good evening.
Okay.
And have a good
Okay,
night.
sir.
Good night, sir.
Good night.